Cd6 Life Coaching with Niamha. The Sacred Council, 6 out of 32. The Guiding Force of Niamha. Niamha, the guiding force of maturity and wisdom. Listen to the wisdom of the elderly and respect nature. I am Niamha, representing the old wise men and women of the ancient tribe. The council we all had long time ago around us to help us in our life. I am here to assist you how to take care of yourself in many situations and to hopefully become old and wise. Quote, all places and all persons in their turn, when spirit dwells in them, have an intrinsic vitality of which youth is incapable. Precisely the balance and wisdom that come from long perspectives and broad foundations. George Santayana. End of quote. You know me from looking up to the elderly people around you when you were young. But who were that example of maturity and wisdom? They represented an image of the council of wise men and women, which we had around us, living in the tribes in nature. They were the practical guides for the group and especially the children, and were the keepers of the secrets to live in harmony with nature. Quote, seek ye counsel of the aged, for their eyes have looked on the faces of the years, and their ears have hardened to the voices of life. Even if their counsel is displeasing to you, pay heed to them. Kahil Gibran. End of quote. Having left nature and our tribes, we live now in concrete jungles and facing more imbalances than we ever imagined. Most elderly people become old, stiff, stubborn and sick, and are more a burden than a help to others. No guarantee that disease will not come our way. Getting older has this distorted picture of getting stiff, stubborn and sick, and it is about constantly putting in the effort in order to stay or become vital, flexible and wise, although there is no guarantee that disease will not come our way. By living a healthy and aware life, even when disease comes on our path, we will deal better with it, and we can still be vital, flexible and wise on the level of the mind. We cannot just point out and condemn the world we have created. We just need to bring nature into the concrete jungles, or us going more into nature. And when we cannot create our own healthy and vital living tribe and support team in our direct environment, we might have to go on a wider scale. Quote, living well is the best revenge. George Herbert. End of quote. When we follow the norm, we will stay trapped and isolated in the concrete jungle and in the confused jungle within our own mind. As individuals, we need to make a choice to either put all our effort in becoming those examples society has lost, in maturity, with vitality, flexibility, awareness, and possibly becoming old and wise to help others. Or we struggle after the fact that we have become old, stiff, stubborn and sick. Maybe we owe this to ourselves and to the generation that is following us. Quote, God gave us the gift of life. It is up to us to give ourselves the gift of living well. Voltaire. End of quote. The life we lead in our modern world is not with the aim to learn from nature and to live in harmony, but it is about money, power and possessions. The art of healthy living and living in harmony with each other has been given in the hands of producers and manufacturers of food and medicine and insurance company and the police force and man-made law systems. We run through our life accumulating, and our bodies accumulate. We are totally stressed out, fighting with ourselves, others and the world, and face endless signs, symptoms and diseases. Is this the true cost of happiness? Quote, ultimately, many stories about Africa turned out to be stories of hope. To see how much people can accomplish with such limited financial resources is something everyone should witness. It is the ultimate reminder that real wealth has nothing to do with accumulating cash. Tracy Tisdale and Paula Boyer Kennedy. End of quote. It may look like walking the path alone, but once you start this, you will meet others who are seeking the same. To start this adventure, we must find ourselves first, and this cannot only be done in silence by meditation in the early morning hours, and we may have to keep on doing this every day, for inside us lays the center, the point of reference, and the real rhythm of life. Quote, in silence, one can receive more because all one's activities become concentrated at one point. There is only one real rhythm. In silence, you hear it. When you live to the rhythm of this silence, you become it, slowly, and everything you do to it. Mother Mira. End of quote. We have to make an effort to go more into nature, possibly starting a garden and bringing nature more into our life. The consuming of more healthy, fresh and raw foods is a must because it is the best medicine. Otherwise, we will become dependent on other medicine. Dressing ourselves up in more natural fabrics and doing everything possible to not surround us with toxic fumes is another task. The media tells us what to eat and what to do in order to be healthy and happy. But we have to be careful, for money-hungry people may not have our health in mind. The business world can make money on us when we are sick, and they can control us when we have debt. With a healthy, self-sufficient, successful individual, they have not control and cannot make the money. Quote, a wise man makes his own decisions. An ignorant man follows public opinion. Chinese proverb. End of quote. We have to create our own support group of wise people and individuals in the field of knowledge regarding nature and healthcare, and as well need to start thinking more global, as we have access to each other around the globe and affecting each other. We have to become global citizens, global fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters of the big tribe, and be a support to each other. The keepers of nature, health and healing, the wise men and women are still on the planet, and we find them, or they will find us when we walk the path of seeking to mature with zest, vitality and awareness. Our society is in desperate need of mature and wise people, and only by walking the path, falling and standing up, we can achieve this. The path to become wise is not an easy path, as we all learn through trial and error, and there is oftentimes a great deal of suffering involved, but when done and gone through with understanding, beneficial to others. Quote, when we long for life without difficulties, remind us that oaks grow strong in contrary winds and diamonds are made under pressure. Peter Marshall. End of quote. We are all gardeners. We all have to become gardeners again. Maybe we will have a physical garden, but all of us have the body to take care of, which is like a garden. This garden is in need of a good gardener in order to have a healthy body and life experience. The garden is in need of sunshine, And as we know, the body garden doesn't like to be exposed to the sun between 10 and 3 o'clock, as the skin gets easily burned, which damages the garden. The body garden, which has many rivers such as veins and nerves and limbs, are in need of fresh water, and water is water, and all other liquids are foods in liquid form. Otherwise, we pollute these rivers, which feed every cell of our body. The body garden needs proper nutrients in order to have healthy cells, and the garden needs proper rest. Now imagine every organ in the body being a plant or tree. When we would dissect our organs and take the flesh away, but not the veins and nerves, they all look like plants and bushes. Then imagine our bones like strong tree trunks, and the blood running through our veins coming from our heart like a big hanging plant, running its nourishment to every part of our body. The nerves running through our entire body are like a formation of bushes, and each organ with all its nerves and veins and cells are like individual plants, bushes and trees. So we really have to work carefully with our body garden to see which seeds we plant. In other words, what food we eat to keep our garden clean. When you put too much unhealthy food inside your body, it leaves too much waste behind, and our garden becomes sick. The best 6 doctors anywhere, and no one can deny it, are sunshine, water, rest, and air, exercise and diet. These 6 will gladly you attend if only you are willing. Your mind then will ease, your will they mend, and charge you with not a shilling. Wayne Fields, end of quote. What would be the best food to absorb for the plants and trees? Would it be cooked foods, canned foods, packed foods, meats, fish, spaghettis, gravies, ice cream and chocolate, or fresh fruits and vegetables? Logically, it will be fresh foods. We put too much unhealthy foods inside, and foods who are very hard to digest, and of course leaving lots of waste behind. It is like collecting too much stuff in your room. You try to store it in the closets, and the body does the same. It stores it wherever possible. However, when food waste stays too long in the body, it crystallizes in the form of cholesterol, bile, gall, and kidney stones. Most body gardens look unhealthy, and the collected waste wants to get out, and the body is letting us know this by becoming sick. Then the body garden needs to be cleaned and is in need of better foods. What is better for the plants or trees again? To have fresh water, or shall we pour soda and alcohol and coffee on them? When we eat live foods, our garden will have life. Our body will stay healthy inside, and our bones and muscles and veins and organs will stay strong. When we start eating all these unhealthy foods with strange and artificial ingredients which have sugar and salts and coloring added, it will make our garden unhealthy and lifeless. Quote, I have given you all plants that bear seed everywhere on earth, and every tree bearing fruit which yields seed. They shall be your food. Genesis 1:29-30. End of quote. As children of Kandu, and Kandu being inside this body, it is our duty to understand more about becoming a good gardener. Otherwise, we will get confronted with lots of pain and unnecessary struggle. This body garden is our home for the time being, and is in need of good thoughts, sunshine, fresh water, rest, and fresh foods, because it will affect every cell. Many people would call this an extreme way of living, but it is mostly the others that live, think, and eat extreme, not knowing when the bomb will explode. Quote, If man thinks about his physical or moral state, he usually discovers that he is ill. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. End of quote. Many people come to the conclusion that their life and the state of the planet is in need of change, but still postpone proper action and wait for others to start. How can we say, let's wait and see, for we are running out of time? We are running out of time in taking care of us and the planet. It has come too far. When there is consciousness, we have to start now. Quote, "The foolish man seeks happiness in the distance. The wise grows it under his feet." James Oppenheim. End of quote. Niamha. Knowing me and knowing what to do with me. Let's see how you unnecessarily struggle with my force in various aspects of your life. How you could change your perspective and even make some practical changes. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject, and each subject can have many books because each subject can be approached from various perspectives and angles. Most important is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth and not the truth, because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world, created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time. And there is always more that can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is from their particular point of view and brought to you through the world of visionary and mystical fiction. Hopefully, it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical, and magical way. By hearing or reading this information, you come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do, because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently, or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. Dealing with your real self, the soul. In regards to spiritual living, stay aware that real wisdom is spiritual wisdom, which is attained through inner and silent spiritual practice. As long as you are not one with the Creator, know that you have not complete access to your spiritual inheritance, and that your spiritual wisdom is not completed yet. Quote, "Knowledge can be communicated, but not wisdom." Hermann Hesse. End of quote. The more you are on the spiritual inner path, the more in harmony you will start to live with nature and everybody, because you recognize that spirit in everything and in everybody. You will become a global and spiritual being who doesn't interfere, but who contributes to life in all its aspects. Dealing with your mind. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that humans have an additional quality called reason, and can even become wise. Unfortunately, when your sense organs are dictating your life, and you let the mind do what it wants, you cannot speak or claim that you are even intelligent, and wisdom cannot be attained. Reason is about realizing, but not realizing things regarding the creation, but self-realization, which is discovering the real you, which is a soul, and God realizing, meaning realizing that soul is part of the Creator. Only on this level can you speak about real knowledge, realization, and attaining wisdom. Quote, "See how nature, trees, flowers, grass grows in silence. See the stars, the moon, and the sun, how they move in silence. We need silence to be able to touch souls." Mother Teresa of Calcutta. End of quote. Dealing with your body. In regards to dealing with your physical body, know that you either grow old, stiff, and plagued with lots of signs and symptoms and disease, or you mature, stay flexible, vital, and even can become wise. Your physical body is designed to move around until the day it needs to be recycled. But your modern way of life either makes you sit too much or you push the body to the limits. You prematurely wear your body out. Being in nature and doing some physical work and using your car at least as possible and you walking more is essential. Living in the concrete jungles, you need that contact with nature. While maturing, you do not need to be or feel old. It is taking care of the body and staying young at spirit. Quote, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that man can alter his life simply by altering his attitude of mind." James Trussell Adams. End of quote. Dealing with communication. In regards to communication, stay aware that wisdom is attained through listening and not through speaking. Quote, "As I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do." Andrew Carnegie. End of quote. Learn to listen to your own words while communicating. Choose the way you communicate to others how you want that others speak to you. Ask for permission to speak and only give advice when asked for. Quote, "A superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions." Confucius. End of quote. Dealing with food. In regards to dealing with nutrition, know that nature is one of the best teachers in regards to vital nutrition. Just think about what nourishment nature would take to nourish itself. Would it be fresh foods or foods that were prepared by man on a stove or which had gone through a heating process? Would it be water, sodas, tobacco, drugs, and liquor? You have given your nourishment in the hands of a money-making industry, which in general doesn't have your health in mind, and which supplies you with anything they can save money on and make money on. Maybe it's time to start growing something yourself. Maybe it is sprouting, creating your own garden, or when there's almost no space, use earth boxes in which you can grow almost anything without having to spend too much time. You all have some kind of hobby, and this one could really benefit you and those around you you care about. There is so much information available when you make this decision. It was in the past that the elders of the tribe had all the knowledge of the land and the healing properties of foods, and they were vital and wise individuals. However, in today's society, often getting older goes together with getting more confronted with signs and symptoms and disease, which in most cases is the result of the lifestyle you lead. Maybe it is wise to eat better during the years while getting older, and although there is no guarantee that sickness will not come your way, but at least you can say that you did everything possible to avoid it. When you reach that time being older in life and are not in the working world anymore, realize that the body doesn't require the same nourishment. Life and food can become even simpler. Quote, "Raw is the ultimate fast food." Jennifer Cornbleet, Raw Food Made Easy. End of quote. Dealing with staying fit. In regards to fitness, most of you have no natural way anymore of keeping the body vital and fit. You have left nature for the modern man-built home jungle, and you sit too many hours or use the car to move around. Walk more. Choose to take the staircase. Use the bike, and when you have a garden, be active in it. Look back at the tribes you all came from. Next to your spiritual practice, it was dance that kept everybody vital, fit, and healthy. Quote, "The truest expression of a people is in its dance and in its music. Bodies never lie." Agnes de Mile. End of quote. The hips are very essential, as within that area lays the center of physical vitality, hormones, procreation system, and immune system. Dealing with your life partner. In regards to your relationships, know that a long time ago, when you were still part of the tribe, that the older wise men and mature men and women of the tribe were there to assist you in matters of relationship. Unfortunately, you have lost that tribe and those elderly people who matured with wisdom and vitality, and who are now those who became old, stiff, stubborn, and sick. Maybe you're lucky to find some real relationship examples around you, and some individuals who mature in wisdom and vitality. And when not, you may want to mature in wisdom and vitality yourself in order to assist others in the future. Maturing together doesn't need to be a process of two people getting old, stiff, stubborn, and sick. It is a great adventure which requires awareness, creativity, and flexibility. It is a dance between souls that have respect for each other and seeking union with God the Creator. Quote, "Let there be spaces in your togetherness. Let the winds of heavens dance between you. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let there rather be a moving sea between your shores. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf." Kahlil Gibran. End of quote. Dealing with your children. In regards to parenting, realize that when you get older, that you have another opportunity to be and relive your inner child. In order to stay flexible, be careful during your life for too comfortable chairs and avoiding to be on the ground. The earth and ground is very important for your well-being. Why do you think children love to play in it and with it? You are attracted to children when maturing, and children are attracted to you, as you hopefully take the time and patience to play with them. Quote, "Age does not make us childish, as some say. It finds us true children." Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. End of quote. Stop trying to keep everything too clean, for it restricts and takes the fun away. You all know as well from experience that it is important to overlook instead of getting caught up in the details of life. Quote, "The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook." William James. End of quote. Show respect to elders and guide children to do the same. Quote, "Seek ye counsel of the aged, for their eyes have looked upon the faces of the years, and their ears have hardened to the voices of life. Even if their counsel is displeasing to you, pay heed to them." Kahlil Gibran. Be a lot in nature with children and make them aware of all that lives in the harmony and in the circle of life. Do some research with them of how animals of how humans harm nature and themselves by just taking and wanting, which all takes from nature. Make them aware that everybody has a relationship with everything and everybody, and that we need to care. Quote, "The only thing we have to fear on the planet is man." Carl Gustav Jung. End of quote. Teach them to become a good gardener of their own body, and that sodas and junk food and actually most foods do not contribute to the health of the body garden. It is assisting the cleaning of the body voluntarily, or otherwise the body will show signs that it is in need of cleaning by endless signs and symptoms and disease. Dealing with preserving the planet. In regards to taking care of the planet Earth, realize that the human body, like the planet, is a garden, and every action or avoiding action will have an effect on the garden, in which you have to live with and in. Look what you do to your body and the planet, and you still wonder about the diseases and natural disasters. Is it not just the last attempt of nature to get your attention to hopefully do things differently? Quote, "There is nothing mysterious about the universal principles. We all know them. We only need to be reminded that they never fail to apply in our lives, no matter how much we may wish we could escape the consequences of our ignorance." Carl Phillips. End of quote. Dealing with the teenage years. In regards to the teenage years, dealing with teenagers, it is a delicate matter, as most of them feel that they didn't receive enough, not enough love, attention, and other things. They want to take it all in their own hands, but do not have the means yet. It is not their time. Assure them that this time will come sooner than they think, but that they can mature, being the best they can be in the situation they are now. We all think that we have rights to things in this world, a world in which we came without anything and will depart without anything. All is just a momentary gift. Quote, "Don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. It was here first." Mark Twain. End of quote. Dealing with getting older. In regards to dealing with getting older, no, there is no need to fear death, as it is just laying off a garment that will be recycled and used for something else. Quote, "Even death is not to be feared by one who has lived wisely." Buddha. End of quote. The entire world is a recycling system of matter changing into something else, and the real true self never dies, as well as it is part of the eternal ocean of love. The only pain connected to death is our attachments to people and things that you came without and will go without. Quote, "Man's life does not commence in the womb and never ends in the grave." Huzur Marwaj Charan Singh Ji. End of quote. You live in fear in regards to many things and forget that life is an adventure in which there are no securities. Only the void and new discoveries, adventures and experiences. When you stay with your fears, you will be unable to live the adventure. Just listen to the short-lived stories that people tell before they depart. When you would really have lived, you would need at least half a lifetime to tell your story. Quote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Marcus Aurelius. End of quote. Most of you are busy saving and ensuring the future, and you pay a big price for this. Most of you are busy with one or more kinds of savings for ensuring the future, such as acquiring possessions like land and houses, saving accounts in banks, investments in stocks, having a big family in the hope children will take care of the parents later in life, pension plans, taking various insurances. All the above mentioned is basically okay. However, when this is done based on fear, it will automatically take away from our momentary taking care of ourselves and being frantically only busy with the future. Quote, "The fear of death often proves mortal and sets people on methods to save their lives, which infallibly destroys them." Joseph Addison. End of quote. Dealing with stress. In regards to dealing with stress, know that most of your stress is related to fear of not being able to do and have it all, or frantically trying to secure everything and everybody. This kind of negative stress will definitely bring premature old age symptoms and an unpleasant life. In nature, everything has its particular place and time, and you are part of that nature. Quote, "True life is lived when tiny changes occur." Leo Tolstoy. End of quote. Dealing with weight. In regards to dealing with weight, realize that many of you live the life as hamsters and collecting more than you need. You all eat too much, plus you eat things that do not contribute to your health and well-being. In addition, you keep holding on to it all, from a physical, mental to an emotional level, and you still wonder why many of you gain weight and are not able to get rid of it. All of this is a collection of many years, and you need to give yourself time to unload it all and to see it as an adventure. Quote, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Tao Te Ching. End of quote. Dealing with disease. In regards to dealing with disease, know that most of you are or will be confronted with disease, and you do not have to ask why. Just look at what you do to yourself, the negative thoughts you have, the unhealthy foods you eat, the artificial conditions around you, the lack of proper sleep, and look at what you do to your environment, which affects you in return. Quote, "Sickness is the vengeance of nature for the violations of their laws." Charles Simmons. End of quote. Going through disease, which is also an adventure, can be seen as gathering information and to possibly assist others. Otherwise, there is very little purpose going through that disease. All diseases are within you and possibly triggered by external events coming to the surface. Healing from the outside is a great help, but the real healing needs to start from within, for there it took seed. Quote, "To heal from the inside out is the key." Winona Judd. End of quote. Look how animals take care of themselves when they are sick, and start eating from nature in its purest form. This is real medicine. Dealing with emotions. In regards to dealing with emotions, the more you let emotions run your life, the more you live in turmoil. You cannot help yourself and others effectively when emotions are in the game, for they blind you from making the right decisions. Life is merely an adventure with many things to experience, but when you take them for real, you suffer and cannot help yourself nor anybody or anything. Only when you stand on the outside can you truly help. This may take you a lifetime to mature in this fashion, but in the meantime, learn to calm emotions and claim emotions as experiences by themselves, and do not connect them to anything or anybody. Quote, "To become a spectator of one's own life is to escape the suffering of life." Oscar Wilde. Dealing with business. In regards to dealing with your professional life, know that during your life in general, it is all about the business of making money and securing the future, and all your effort is invested in that corner of life only. Your spiritual health and well-being is here and there fitted in or forced and again related with stress and achievement. Why not putting in these first things and making a living to support these very important factors? Quote, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. Mark Twain. End of quote. Dealing with destructive habits. In regards to dealing with destructive habits and addictions, know that when you look at life with a negative perspective, negative and destructive habits and addictions will enter. For this is the relationship you create with life. It is all about your attitude. Once you change that, you get a different perspective on life and things will shift naturally. Imagine yourself as a child and ask what child and what kind of elder you would like to have around you. Become that mature and wise elder by turning away from your destructive habits and addictions. Be an example and let others see, and especially that child within you, that you can do this. The world is in need of mature and wise elders. Quote, once you develop awareness, you will have a new confidence. Ma Jaga Sati Bhagavati. End of quote. Dealing with studying. In regards to studying, stay aware that knowledge is attained through studying, but that the study of life itself brings a different kind of knowledge, and that wisdom is applying that knowledge through years of experience in a simple and practical manner. Maybe you are fortunate to have a wise person in your circle and learn to tune into that person. There is a lot you can study in regards to the things being part of the modern world, which gives you knowledge about those things and possibly giving you a profession. But know that without the knowledge of how to live in harmony with oneself, others and nature, and without the knowledge of the mind and the spiritual worlds, that you have very little knowledge. Do you realize that you are never finished gaining knowledge, and that the more you know, the more you understand that you don't know anything? So be careful in speaking in statements and talking about the truth. Quote, doubt grows with knowledge. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. End of quote. You must study in order to get a job, to pay for your livelihood. But in just focusing on this, you mostly lose your health, affect the health of others and the world. In order to take care of yourself, you must learn from nature and those around you who have understood the deeper meaning of life. When you start understanding the true purpose of life, you will be able to take care of life. Quote, there are obvious two educations. One should teach us how to make a living, and the other how to live. James Truslove Adams. End of quote. Dealing with friendships. In regards to friendships, realize that everything and everybody in creation is a friend, offering you a gift, an experience, and it is how you act back as friends that makes it a lasting friendship or not. You are either the destroyers of creation or the protector, and that requires being a hero. You are all souls, children of the same Father, when you love him, you must show your love for his creation. Quote, do you love your Creator? Love your fellow beings first. Mohammed. End of quote. Summary, Niamha. Niamha, the guiding force of maturity and wisdom. All of us, when young, looked up to elderly people, but who unfortunately, when getting older, stopped being that example of maturity and wisdom. In today's society, we see most people becoming old, stiff, stubborn, and sick, a picture that is drastically in need of change. I am Niamha, representing the Council of Wise Men and Women of the ancient tribes. Rediscover the secrets to live in harmony with nature and how to mature, vital, flexible, and wise. Summary. You either become older, stiffer, stubborn, and sick, or you mature in wisdom and stay flexible, vital, and fit. You either reconnect with nature or live a life disconnected from it. You either become a contribution to your partner, family, and society, or a burden. You either become the representation of the old wise men and women of the tribes assisting others when they ask for help, or you slowly stop wanting to see and hear anything anymore, but at the same time telling others and the world how things should be done. You either live life in fear, with unanswered questions regarding your inevitable upcoming departure, or you are in preparation of it on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. In order to mature in wisdom and to stay connected with Mother Nature, prepare yourself for the day of how you are going to approach life, others, and situations. And at the end of the day, write down your changes, how you handled things differently by having read the information about Niamha. Affirmation. I choose the path to become mature, vital, flexible, and wise, and to go through all its challenges with understanding in order to assist the younger generation when they would ask for guidance. Petrus.